So, actually, I think this is vlog 125, and this morning, see, the past 24 hours, I don't know, maybe even the past 48 hours, a lot of things have happened. Nice things, interesting things, things that I cannot talk about. But also, for example, this morning, let's say it like this, when it's about my vlogging, if you watch my vlogs for the first time, or this vlog is your first touch with my mumbo jumbo, and maybe you can take away something from it or not. The thing is, this morning one person triggered one topic. I think it's about being as authentic as possible will open us many doors of opportunity and access to a lot of people. That is maybe also one of the reasons that I don't want to say that I'm the most authentic person on the freaking planet, but I'm really in touch with reality. And the thing is, now, this morning I was walking into a mall before openings time, but there were other people also walking in, and and in general people are staring at me, and I'm not bragging over here, but okay, this security guy, once a security guy, he was also new over there. He picks me out and said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I need to go to the toilet," which is normally possible over there around 9:30. I walked in and he said, "No, you cannot go." Okay, see, the thing is, where do I go with this? Well, first of all, his whole posture was changing when I was approaching. So, you know, he wants to, how to say, express authority, because he was wearing now this so-called uniform, and that he can call all his security buddies, and with no disrespect, but I'm going somewhere with this. Like always, I'm also saying, you know, I got no emotional connection to any kind of situations, especially when it's about, let's say, a little bit of negative or a not very positive experience. So this, I thought, okay, the other people also walking in, you picked me out, and it's not like, oh, now I'm the woolen sweater guy who sits in the corner with, you know, with a bottle of milk and cry about it. No, I want to share something, because this is what I think about people who have temporarily power, and power can come in so many different kind of situations, right? But this guy is obviously, let's say, in a temporarily power position. But what I also think about it is that when you take, let's say, a little bit advantage of the power position, or you know, that you use it for yourself to make yourself feel temporarily a little bit, now I'm in control for once in my life, and I can show this quote-unquote me, a foreigner, you know, let's show him something, that I'm the boss. And it's not only about security people, because I talk with a lot of security people and a lot of people also who wearing suits, but the majority of people who hide behind let's say positions, like a lot of managers, which I'm seeing. I'm sitting now around a mall and I see groups of people in the mall. They go eat over there, and the managers, they take some sort of, you know, let's quote unquote a power position. But I'm also looking at how they treat the employees, right? And then they have a little bit temporarily power, and they take advantage of it. And I think that is a disgusting human behavior, and that's what I want to talk about. And I'm just sharing my 2 cents, my perspective of life, and or on groups of people is maybe totally irrelevant. But if you want to live a life of freedom and access to a lot of levels of groups of people, and also people who are in very nice high positions, lower positions, but still always stay humble and also be kind in any kind of situation, so there's not a lot of stuff that will, you know, change their behavior, you know. And you should take a good look sometimes around you And not only this, if you are, for example, in the position that you need to work for a manager and he actually acts like an asshole, and you take it for granted because, yeah, it's your job and you need to do it to survive, just observe people a little bit better, I think, because life is too short and to feel negativity of people who try to push you down, to feel a little bit better about themselves, because the majority of people I know, they go home, cry a little bit when their woman acts up a little bit. So, I also have some sort of, let's say, I feel sometimes sorry for people because I'm running into tons of different situations where many times people try to or intimidate me, impress me, and or something that is not very, let's say, nice, and also would not be accepted by a lot of people where I would be that I'm hanging around with or sit with, especially at home, because a lot of people that I know, they have smelled life, they've been there, done that, and once you have been there, done that, and have seen a lot of stuff, experienced maybe a little bit more extreme situations, you're not in the mood to show authority over other people. And I do believe once you find that little spot in your life, and that everything also fades away, that your ego is too big to sit with those people, and or again, that you have to feel temporarily good about yourself because you pushed somebody else down. Yeah, well, I don't believe that it's a... I actually have a lot of situations the past 30 days, and this vlog is probably the most messy one again, but I just want to give my 2 cents about people who temporarily take advantage of stuff. I don't believe that it's a good human characteristic, right? But it's also, on the other hand, I don't see it as something negative, but also it closes a lot of opportunities for them. They probably always, so for example, this security guy, well, if you handle people like this, also talk very, how do you say it, down on me, where are you going? You could also say, for example, good morning, sir. Where are you going? Or something more, even more polite, but not where are you going? With your nose in the air and say I am all that. I'm not entering a Nazi camp, right? And those people will be always, I think, in the same position, and maybe they will mature, maybe, but I don't believe this. And the thing is, I said this also in previous vlogs, liars are liars, stealers are stealers, but also people, I think this is also some sort of category of people, they want to hide behind a costume and or maybe uniform, and or that they have to be surrounded by a group of people that is some sort of a confirmation of that they're doing good or doing a service. But in the end, when they would be without that kind of security, they would be a total different person. And this is what I really like to see from people, when they, that they're the human, not some kind of guy in a suit, that has to lick ass to make a little bit money, and actually, is not about providing value or try to make other people feel good, but simply just maintain, not try to grow mentally, physically, in order to make other people feel better. A lot of people just, I think, stuck also. But again, I'm gonna go with another example. And people that are in those groups that hate colored people, see, I ran into many situations like this, but I don't have any negative feelings about it, but I have always some sort of, let's say, more emotional opinion about when people take advantage of a position. So for example, when people express their hate is more or less, no, the only time that they do it is when they're in groups. And I'm also going to say this, I'm sitting also with people sometimes, they have Hitler tattoos on their body and swastikas. But the thing is, those people are a little bit more in a higher position, and you know, I shake hands with those people and still, and they would say, yeah, you're the good guy. But the thing is, let's talk about those people, and they only express hate when they're in groups. And when they try to intimidate me, I always think like this: how old are you? What if? And they're usually younger guys. You know, what if your parents dead, your house gone, everything that's stable? In my mind, when people try to intimidate me, I think, what if, you know, we cut this off, and let's stop it off. Go to another country, put them in an isolation cell. How much hate will there be left? And then they become maybe more themselves, more humbled. And somehow, somewhat, I do believe that it's not a bad thing to cut down everything away as much as possible. I'm not telling that people, their parents need to die and all that kind of stuff, but what I'm saying is, if you one of those people who take sometimes of multiple times, because that's also something, people don't do things once and they repeat behavior, if not in a shorter amount of time, or you know, also on the longer term, behavior repeats themselves. It's like, you know, it's them. Every individual is in the end an individual with a whole spectrum of characteristics. And I do believe that it's somehow not easy to pinch or actually to break those behaviors in order to get actually more access to opportunities, access to different kind of people with different goals in life, and maybe also I don't know what, political thoughts. But I'm not going into politics because I don't have any clue about this. But this is also a nice example, right? If you see groups of guys, and I talk about guys over here, you know, in general they have always something in common. If it's not the haircut, then it's the suits, then it's the clothing. There's always a lot of things in common, you know, because they hang around a lot with each other. And the thing is, they also somehow only feel good around those people. So another example, me, if you would see me, I'm sitting with all kind of people from society. I'm sitting with people with suits, I'm sitting with people who are actually, yeah, the homeless. I'm sitting with, like I said, also with Nazi people. I'm sitting with people from, yeah, a lot of things. And you would never see that I would, let's say, belong or really fit in that group, because I'm me. And again, I'm not saying that I'm all that, but I just want to share my 2 cents on this. You know, if you're one of those people who actually, if you look at your friends, you got the same haircut, you got the same dressing style, you know, the clothes, how you dress yourself, and it comes also with a set of behaviors. And if you want to change something, you also need to have balls for that, right? Because a lot of people, they are stuck in some sort of circle that's going on and on and on, and they come up with all kind of vices, you know, distractions that actually totally not benefit anyone besides the person who actually, you know, takes part of those vices. But it's all temporarily, and everything was temporarily okay. And in the past I did a lot of, let's say, participate in a lot of vices, you know, using boatloads of drugs, because also I don't want to blame it on the circumstances, but if you somehow somewhat stuck in a circle and it doesn't make you feel good, I think you should take a very good look around. You know, are the people around me having a lot of habits that are very obvious, but also do they have some sort of behavior which is repeating all the time? You know, like sneaky comments and or yeah, a little bit coward behavior. So they had to make a joke about you, and then when you would get up and stand up for yourself a little bit, they would say, "No, it's a joke." And that is also another really characteristic. That I would never hang around with those people anymore. In the past, I did take a lot of things. Okay, let's forgive, or forget. I don't forget anymore, but I also don't forgive, because I really learned this, that the amount of people that actually willing to change their behavior for the better is such a tiny percentage that it's better for me not to spend any time with those people, because that would hold me back. Then I would drive on a handbrake through life. And you know what, like, if you watched my vlogs so far, you know I don't like to drive on a handbrake. You know, I like to observe and especially evaluate at the end of the day the meetings that I had. You know, a couple of days, no, not a couple of days, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, I met one person which I knew from the past, actually an ex, but like always, and I got nothing against my exes, but I just bumped into her. But she was always, she was totally the opposite of me, you know, manipulating and a lot of lies. But you know, I talked a little bit with her and blah blah blah, nothing, and there's no any desire of you know, getting back or whatever. You know, I'm totally let's say emotional in control with about a lot of, let's say, previous relationships. I'm not the kind of guy who sits on the couch, oh, I wish this, I wish that. No, life is too short for that. But to talk about this person was always along, especially at the end of the relationship, very manipulating and also lying, and on top of that, very messy. Well, I met this person and there was a time frame of 6 months in between, but the amount of lies and trying to manipulate you know, was on such a level that I thought, mamma mia, mamma mia. So some things are also grow if you don't stop it, right? Negative behavior. And let me put a little bit more information. Is this person also asked me, you know, can you help me? Some curtains need to be hanged. Let's call it curtains. So I thought, yeah, okay, bam. And then I came in the home, total chaos, mess. Yeah, and it's not to talk bad about this person, not at all, but you know, as you can see, if you don't stop some sort of, let's say, negative behavior, which closes, like I said, when it's about lying, it closes the doors of opportunity. And this person is so over the top trying to manipulate, but also the expression of when she didn't get what she wanted, she levels up so fast. And I think that has also a little bit to do with, let's say emotional attachment to life. They're totally disconnected from what is actually happening around. And that, you know, I was looking at it like wow, it only gets worse. And maybe that's something you can take away from this vlog. This vlog, by the way, I have a lot of things that I need to think about, and I have to do a lot of work, but I still want to push out something for today's vlog, which is the biggest takeaway is if you would recognize your own negative behavior, then try to kill it. And of course you need to replace it with something, and replace it with the 1 minute, the 13th step 1 minute exercise. Just you need to replace, let's say, a negative behavior, maybe also vices. And let's talk about my own vices that I had. I used to and I used a lot of drugs in my life, but which I replaced now with a lot of discipline. I enjoy really life. I am peace with my past. I'm really in peace. I learned how to go for something, but also detach from the actual outcome that I visualized for myself. I'm just fine with what is coming, but at least I put my habits in a row that I'm going somewhat, you know, the direction that I think that's what I want. You know, when it's about my vlogging thing, I want to speak better. I want to bring or speak about topics that makes people aware of their surroundings, and maybe they can actually change a little bit the direction of stuff, maybe cut off some people in order to prosper faster in life. Because that's another thing, you know, I handled in the past always from the heart, and one of those things is of course getting into business ventures with people I should have never get into, you know, because I thought, yeah, because we are so-called friends, I trust you, so you have the skills, the discipline, and or the resilience for problems that might pop up. But you know what? Most people don't. And it is not to talk bad. Again, this is not, my vlogs are not about saying how bad other people are. If you find with your 9 to 5, lie your ass off, that is good. That's the kind of category that of people that I would not allow anymore around. And I did. In the past I did. All kind of people with behaviors that I would not tolerate for 1 single second anymore. And it's not because I'm, you know, I am all that. No. But I do believe when you try to do your best, giving the compliments, like I said also in previous vlogs, nobody ever went to jail to give too many compliments. So you make other people feel good. You try to reach out a helping hand here and there. You know, you need energy for that, positive energy. Negative, if you act negative, you know, that you walk around with a negative, with negative feelings. Let's label something, use something like, damn it, man, what is this? Just a second. Where was I? Anyway, that there is nothing good coming from. And also when you feel negative, you know, you should not speak negative. I'm actually really thinking about my words because there's a lot of directions that I could go with this. But yeah, let's talk about, you know, speaking and saying things about your own life in a negative way. And also when it's about your mood, you know, I feel tired, I feel this, I feel that. Why would you share this with other people, right? There is nobody who benefits from it. You not, and the people around you not. And maybe you hang around with people who say that they're constantly tired and that they feel old. Yeah, okay, I'm 46. But if I sometimes listen to younger guys who are 35, some even the youngest, what I thought, Mamma Mia, that is the kind of person I would stay away from. You know, okay, for a little chit chat on the street, like I said, I'm always willing to talk with people who approach me, but also people that I know from the neighborhoods, you know. But this young guy, he is 32, maybe now 33, and he was riding around on his bike, and he said, yeah, no, yeah, I'm not training anymore because my hip is a little bit hurting. but he's riding around on a bike, so it's not so painful. But on top of that, he said, "Yeah, but I'm also getting older." 32, 32. If you're fucking 32, you just look around the corner. If I would talk from when I was 32, now I'm getting older. Now I feel all my back hurts. You know, there are a lot of people who speak themselves totally into getting as old as fast as possible without actually being old or even maturing between the years. That's another thing, right? There are so many people who like to live a life of comfort, stay away from possible stress, and get old in a very relaxed way. I think if you don't get challenges that are, let's say, more out of the ordinary, and if you don't have those challenges, life becomes very quickly boring, and people are not made for that. And that if you're watching this and you might think, but it's your personal view. Yeah, that's my personal view. But we all know there are 30-year-old, I'm gonna say old people, who think that you need to be as comfortable as possible, relaxed as possible, no problems. But we all also know that their level of energy is totally like a 50-year-old. By the way, I'm actually offending a friend of mine. Multiple friends of mine are above 60 and they have the energy levels of, I would say, around a 20-year-old. They have more energy than most 20-year-olds. But also they are very, very straightforward about taking care of business, facing reality, but also enjoy themselves to the fullest without restrictions, because that's another thing, right? There are a lot of people who settle with a spouse because it's easy. They not open their eyes, but also they bump into each other, and they're making soup for each other, and that means that you're all of a sudden belong to each other for the rest of your life. And of course, it's all fun. It sounds like a romantic story, but what are you gonna give to your how do you say this, to your children? That life needs to be comfortable. Don't face too much adversities. I don't think that builds character. And also, when you don't build character, a stronger character, if you would like to positively influence the world around you, you need to have a little bit more character, and especially not on the same level of energy, because somehow people are like animals. People can smell it. People can, that's why they probably also attracted to each other in groups and talk about how bad the politics and the weathers are every day. But if you want to do a little bit more in life, you have to open your eyes, face the challenges, maybe even go into ventures that everybody says, oh no, don't do this, that could be dangerous, you could actually lose everything. Well, what is everything? I lost everything, but I never lost my my sense of reality. I lost when I slept on the street. I always found moments of peace. There are moments of peace, let's say, in being on the street. There are moments of peace that you got so much time, and especially when it's after 12 o'clock, people are not on the street anymore, and then you sit over there. And you know what, I'm gonna tell you something so you understand I'm not bullshitting over here. I was walking around with a suitcase, and at night I tried to stay awake as much as I could, but then I tied my laces on my suitcase in case people would like to steal it. So you understand, those are details. And a lot of people who would say something, they forget about the details, because there is peace in it. And yes, of course, when you become, let's say, an alcoholic, to drink away your problems of being, let's say, homeless, See, then of course you go all the way into the victim mentality, right? Oh, I'm so sad. I lost everything. Yeah, what is everything, huh? When you lost everything. I also said multiple times I lost everything, but in the end, I found always moments. My fingers are working. My eyes, I can still see with them. I can hear, I can smell, I can find water to wash myself, and still had reasonable clothes on my ass, so I can make it happen. And even on the moments that I thought, Donald, you're such a fucking loser. Then I thought, come on, eh? Come on. You didn't lose everything. So when people also say, no, don't get into this venture, that venture, because you will lose everything. What are you gonna lose? Your wife? Anyway, when it's about, and let's say the opposite sex, let's assume that you're a hetero, but also maybe the gay people. But the thing is, you never own anybody. And the thing is, if they only would stick with you because you got a comfortable life or everything in order, and that's the only reason they're gonna stick with you, because everything is settled out, yeah, I think you're already having a relationship that is totally not going in depth. So when it's about in-depth relationships, where is the real connection? Did you ever test your spouse? Let's see how deep they can dig to stick with each other, how much you love each other. That's another thing. There are so many couples, I would say, and then the guy brags about how much sex they have. Well, first of all, I always think, yeah, of course, you're not even capable of running, let's say 2 kilometers. So that is probably maybe a 15 minutes session and it's over. There's no in-depth. There's no, let's say, providing as much value to the other person. If you understand what I mean. This vlog is actually maybe boring for a lot of people, and for some people they say, yeah, I recognize this. I'm hanging around with people with similar behaviors and somehow I feel deep inside a little bit negative, not very happy with the situations, multiple times. And I think those are signs, and those are simply signs that life gives us so many signs. If you feel constantly not good in your skin, check your habits. Just check the people around you. If you go to people and there are multiple, let's say, moments in the conversation that you have with those people, and you feel, oh, I don't really like that he or she says this, without giving the feedback. It's not about that they shout at you or something, but just really sneering tiny things. Then why would you hang around with them? It's the same with when you sit with people playing with their phones. I understand when you sit with business people, once in a while you excuse yourself, but the majority of time when I sit with, let's say, my trusted people, the people who walk the extra 100,000 miles, and I'm not exaggerating, the thing is, we never play with our phones. Yeah, sometimes I need to decline a little call. I say this, I'm gonna tell this person very quickly, and that I will get back to them after a few hours or even tomorrow. That's the only thing I do on the phone when I'm sitting with my trusted people. I'm not gonna sit over there scrolling and see what this person does over there. Why would you need to do this? Simply because your life is boring. And I'm not saying this that I'm leading the greatest life on the planet, but I do believe that I live in some sort of state of mind that at the end of the day that I can say I did everything that I wanted. I didn't have to hold back on anything because somebody else told me not to. And I want to make people laugh a little bit, provide value, and don't make other people feel bad. If I can accomplish this every day and also train, share my thoughts, my 2 cents on life, maybe after 10 years I would say, Dalla, what were you rattling over there in vlog 125? Well, I'm willing to face that, of that possible that I would say, oh, you should have never said this. But I don't believe the things that I'm saying that it's about disrespecting people. I'm just sharing my perspective on life, that gives me, I think, not only a life of freedom, but also a life of fulfillment. And not only this, the people who are real enough, and they don't have to be, all the way, let's say, like myself, but with those people, they know I'm trying to make them feel good. And also every time I meet them, I try to level up a little bit. Do I expect anything in return? No. The only thing is a little bit mutual respect. No sneering comments, no playing with the phones. And if you do, I just go somewhere else. And that's the thing. I live with a mindset of abundance, But also, I can really focus on a single person when it's about the opposite sex. I can really focus, but also be loyal. But if there's no any intention from the other side, then I'm not gonna sit in the corner like, oh my God, what I'm gonna do now? This is the last person on the planet that I ever want to be with. No, because everybody leads their own life in the end, right? But anyway, this vlog, I have to see how long I'm already speaking for 36 minutes again. But what is the real takeaway from this vlog? Try to be as authentic as possible if you want to make the world a little bit more colorful, a little bit more exciting, that you think, yes, I want to go to the supermarket. Oh, when it's about supermarkets in the neighborhood where I have my Airbnb, everybody smiles. I greet everybody. I'm thinking about other things. The places that I drink beer. People are willing to put a bottle of beer in the freezer in multiple stores. Eh? And is my thing all about drinking? No, that is just a tiny fragment of the day. And I'm not an alcoholic. Yesterday I drank half a liter of beer, just a small can. I'm here in Bulgaria. We don't drink the 33 centiliter or 33 milliliters. No, centiliters cans, because those are like shots. And again, it's not about alcoholism. It's about, for me, that's a little tiny part that says, hey Dylan, you deserve it. And you know what? If that's one of my biggest vices, the most negative habit that I would have in my life, well, I could also swallow, no, but I'm not, I could put testosterone in my body, swallow a boatload of antidepressant pills, and say that I'm all that my whole world is about pink ponies and riding unicorns. It's not. But I do embrace every single second of the day, and I really enjoy every single second of the day. But at the end of the day, I cannot wait to wake up the next morning around 5:15. Yeah, this morning was 6:15. But the thing is, and I wake up in between, and it's simply because I want to wake up. I really want to wake up. I need to see, because the sun is very burning on the thing. And yes, I'm sitting now with my hoodie because this morning was very cloudy. But anyway, now I'm preparing to go to the calisthenics spot. And when it's about the calisthenics, and also then stop talking for the day, I went maybe a little bit willy-nilly. Where is the real point of your vlogs, Della? I think I want that people open their eyes a little bit more than they do. Be a little bit more considerate for the people around you. I'm gonna give you another last one example how I also knew that some people from the past were not really into the world around them as they said they were. So they pretend to be into, let's say, people who are, let's say, on the lower levels, because I don't see things on lower levels, but I knew he did. So one example, we walked into the toilet, I had to take a shit, which I actually never do. I never liked that before in public places, but I said, I'm flushing every time when my shit hits the water, simply because I don't want to smell up the place. But the thing is, and then he said, why would you do that? I only flush once. See, and then I was already thinking, he is not so considerate or busy with the world around him as he actually tried to make me think that he is, or that he was. So you know, for me, there are so many strategies that I use to see where people are, and if I actually at one point located, let's say their, let's say real intentions, I don't have anything against anybody. The thing is, as long as I know this is him or her, and I know they will swirl over there, and it's good. Somehow I take away pieces of knowledge. Also, when people do something all over the top where I totally wouldn't agree with, you know, I take my little takeaways from it. I would. So for then one last example, you know, people who try to manipulate you, and then actually, oh yeah, no, this is the thing. This person who lied so much over the top, I put a little bit fuel on it. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what actually happened because I know some people are watching and I talked about it. Not about this person, but the event that was lied about, and I think, wow. So I put a little bit fuel on it by saying, you know, oh really, did it really happened? And it's not to make fun of them, but just to see what could come up with more. But people who lie and you give them a little bit fuel on top of it, they increase the level of lies to insanity, which is, yeah, at that point, at some point, then it becomes hilarious. And I do believe, in the end, nobody gets up in the morning, let's say, let's lie about this. No, it's simply embedded in the character. You know, it's them. And they're not getting up in the morning to breed on all kind of lies. It's simply so embedded in their character that they cannot even help themselves anymore. And that is actually a part of me then feels like, yeah, that is for me sad. Yeah. Then I think, Mamma mia, you keep your life so closed or far away from the opportunities, because this person who lied so all over the top has the level of energy that they could fuel a whole sales team. A sales team of 10 people, this person could fulfill the whole demands, the quota that this sales people need to. Yeah, that is the sad part. So, what is the takeaway from my vlogs? Try to be as real as possible, whether other people around you like it or not. Try to get from life, or to give in life, as long as you live. Also is another thing, right? Give without actually expecting anything, because that's another characteristic that I really think, wow. So for example, another example, one guy, he put some money in the charity box, but he was waiting until other people notice it. And I noticed, you know, I always observe it, but I saw it, and I think, yeah, and this person gives in order to get some sort of, you know, something in return. Always give when nobody's watching, especially when nobody's watching, because then you somehow live a way much better life. Never ask anything in return. The only thing that I'm asking is a little bit respect. Don't hate me for nothing. And especially also when it's about people hate me for my color. They don't know that I'm raised by whiter people than most people. That's another thing. My father had always gray hair, as long as I knew him. So my parents, they were more white than most people with brown hair. I'm just saying. And see, for me, color is just another label. But yeah, I also have a totally different kind of perspective on this, because yeah, I'm adopted, and the thing is, color is for me totally irrelevant. For me, it's what inside, you know, what is inside, the way they speak, the enthusiasm, the way how they engage with the world. Are they kind, humble, also humble enough to admit mistakes in a very genuine way, not just to keep their plate clean, you know, so they can get along with each other, step through one door. For me, you always will get how I feel and how I think about stuff. I never dance around the bush. But of course, now that I'm 46, I'm way much more considerate about other people, let's say, their mental states, because yeah, if I go and this is the last thing, and then I'm gonna close this vlog. In the past I used to, let's say, combine and connect people with each other from all kind of different levels of society, that they would never sit with each other in one room. And I had once a huge room full, and if you're one of those people, you know. But anyway, let's close this one. I don't know what else to say. I could talk over about so many topics, but I want to keep it like this. Otherwise I'm gonna go totally off the let's say takeaway of this vlog. What is the takeaway? Be authentic as possible, and every day a little bit more. Also, don't be too harsh on yourself, but also don't be too soft on yourself. We only live once. And of course they're religious. They say we're coming back. Well, we have to see this. But I do believe it's a one-way ticket. But maybe after 10 years I will say, Dylan, what a ridiculous thing. I don't know. Ciao for now. It's time to train.